Hello friends, welcome to the Design Rescue Show. This is episode 1 of a brand new series called CTRL+S. This new series was developed to help me document what it takes to create and run a high school graphic design program from scratch. Typically, in order to prepare myself for the upcoming year, over the summer what I'll do is I'll go back, I'll look at the Google Classroom pages for each of the preps that I teach, and then I'll just sort of figure out what to teach next based on what I taught in the last year. So what I've started doing is taking all of that information for the past couple of years and putting that into ChatGPT, which helps me coordinate and catalog all of the assignments, the bell work, the lectures, and everything that I've done for the past 5 or 6 years. And then taking that and turning it into something that I can use for this year. When I first started teaching, for the first couple of years, I committed to keeping track of and documenting everything on a daily basis, so I knew what I was doing and what I was talking about, the assignments I was giving, the lectures that I was giving, the bell work that I had created, and all of that stuff I wanted to keep track of. It was way too much work for me. It might not be too much work for you, but it became overwhelming. And so what I'm doing with this video series is essentially the same thing, just documenting it through video. And that way, at the end of the year, I can take a look at what I've taught, what I've the assignments that I've given, the progress that my students have made, and I can visually see, how it went, and I can try to create the next year's curriculum based on this video series. So that was the primary reason for why I started this series, but the other reason is actually just as valid, and I really wanted to create a way for new teachers and old teachers, people that have been in it for a while, to kind of get an idea of what other teachers do. You see, in the 10 years that I've been teaching, I have never had an opportunity to actually go in and follow another teacher and see what they do, or see how they run their class, or even prepare before the year begins. And so I wanted to change that for everybody else. I thought I would be the guinea pig for this, and I can walk you through how I prepare, how I set up my lectures and my assignments, and how I coordinate what's happening next in each of my classes. Welcome into my classroom. Let me take a couple of moments to show you around before we actually continue with episode 1. I think it's important that you know what I've got to work with, right? I really lucked out with the size of my classroom. I've got one of the larger classes on campus, and I love it. It's a fantastic space. And let me just walk you around a little bit here. You'll notice I've got stuff on the walls, like every single wall space is taken. I wanted to give my students an opportunity to see, first of all, what real good design looks like, and to surround them with examples of good design, so they can simply look around and get ideas for their own work. I've got examples of typography on the back wall there. I've got an art history and graphic design trends wall over here. I've got student work right here. This is all examples of student work, and you'll notice that it's very good. This stuff is really well done. I'm very proud of the work that my students do. I've got it right next to actual show posters, and they actually do compare pretty well, I think. The sort of work that they've produced and actual graphic design work right next to it, I think it holds up really well. So the way that I've set up my my walls, if you can see here the plexiglass holders, these are retail. They're 11 by 17 retail sign holders, and they work great. They work really well to hold your student work, keep it flat against the wall, make it look nice, and it's easy to pull things on and off the wall so that you're not using staples or pins or whatever else and taking all the time to do all of that. My advanced and honors graphic design class is not a normal class. It's actually my work-based learning program that I call the Design Rescue Studio. And in that class, it's a combined class period, advanced and honors. And so what I do is I bring in clients, either nonprofit organizations, small businesses, anybody that needs help, and I bring them into the classroom so my students will meet with them, develop a creative brief, and then do the work, bring the client back in, and present that final work to them. Let me show you the conference room that I use. So please forgive the mess. I haven't cleaned it up from the summer, but I've got a conference table set up. You can actually take a look over here and see a lot of actual student projects that we've done over the past couple of years. Got examples there. And so the idea is I really wanted to create a space that resembles an office setting. So in my classroom, we've got the classroom chairs are actually office chairs. I talk to my students like they're junior designers, they're not students. And I think that's very important to give them that, get them in that headspace, to get them ready to work with clients, to work in the real world as designers. So the way that I've got this video series organized is basically in segments. I'll start with today's mission, what is it that I want to accomplish, and then I'll go into talking about the active projects that we've got open, what are my students currently working on. I will then talk about challenges that I'm up against and figure out the solutions right there with you. We'll come up with ideas for how to solve some of the challenges that we run up against as teachers. And then finally, we'll talk about what's coming next. What will we cover tomorrow? What are we going to cover the next week? And so on. So for example, today's mission was to figure out exactly how to start. What do we do first? What's where do we go? What's the very first thing we need to do to get our heads straight about getting the school year going? We need to lay the groundwork for the school year by figuring out what we want to do. The focus would be, what does week 1 look like? That's where we start. Don't go too far out. Let's figure out what those first couple of days of school will look like. What do I need to build or prepare to get there? And so for that first week, I've figured that I need to develop the curriculum maps for the whole year so I know at least where I'm going, and I can tell my students and give them some expectations about where we're going with this class. I need to figure out how I'm going to talk about the saving their work, setting up folders, using Google Classroom, using the computer in general, and all of that. And then I'll explain the process that we're going to use with every single assignment. And that is, I think, the best way to explain where that first day or two will go. So my next challenge is to take a look at all of the 3 preps that I teach. Well, I say 3, but it's actually 4. I teach digital design and illustration, visual communications, advanced graphic design, and honors graphic design. But advanced and honors are both in the same class period. The only difference is that honors students will write a reflection after every single assignment. So for digital design and illustration, that first couple of days, the first week is actually Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There's no students, there will be no students on Monday or Friday. So for those first 3 days, it's getting to know each other, talking about the syllabus, what are the norms of the class, what do you need to do, what are the rules that they need to follow, and how do they do their assignments, what can they expect from me in terms of homework, bell work, and all of that. Also, in that first week for digital design and illustration, I'll walk them through the programs. I'll show them what the Illustrator environment looks like at Photoshop, InDesign, and just kind of show them a little bit about what it looks like. And then we'll do some sketching practice, which is huge in this class. Sketching is very, very important. In fact, let me show you. I have sketchbooks that I give to all of my students. Everybody gets a sketchbook, and I give them the best possible sketchbooks that I can get for them with the hard covers, so that I know that they're going to keep it. It's not going to get all messed up throughout the year. And they may want to keep it for years to come. I've got a stack of sketchbooks that I will walk them through that I've kept for decades. I've had for a long, long time. And so it's always great to look back at what you did in the very beginning, so I thought it's something that they would want to do as well. For visual communications, for week one, it's a little bit different. It's going to be more of, because they know me, they know each other, they were in class last year together. And so in visual communications, it's a little bit more about getting to know what they're going to do in the year, and then refreshing their memory about the fundamentals of design, typography, color theory, all of that stuff. And in visual communications, we'll take time to talk about the art history element, because very different from digital design and the advanced or honors, the visual communications class will explore 4 different segments, 4 different units of art history. And I try to use the art movements that are related to graphic design more than others. So for instance, Art Nouveau is very, very well integrated into the graphic design industry. In fact, if you think about the 1960s, you think about the psychedelic posters and the advertising that went on for the music industry, that all came right out of the Art Nouveau movement. So there's a huge connection there. And so that's just one example. There's the Memphis design movement from the 80s. There are lots of different movements that are connected to graphic design, and so that's where I like to focus those art history projects. So for the advanced and honors class, that's the Design Rescue Studio, I take a little bit of a different strategy in that first week. I treat it like a company. It is a studio, and so that first couple of days, we're getting together into a group. We're talking about what are we going to do as a company? What are we going to do to provide fantastic service? What are the soft skills that we need to learn in order to provide the best possible customer experience for our clients? We'll talk about the merchandising that we're going to create for the pop-up shop. We will go into essentially everything that we're going to cover for the year to get them to have a solid portfolio at the end of that school year. So that is basically what I'm going to be covering in that first week of school. I know I didn't go over a lot of detail, but what we'll do tomorrow for episode 2, I'll come back into the classroom, and then we will talk about day 1. We'll just get that straight in our heads about what kind of a lecture we need to give, how do we welcome our students back, and will there be any practice assignments? How do we deal with that very first day of school? And we'll take it one day at a time, all right? Thank you for joining me in this brand new series called Control+S. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm not just a graphic designer and a high school teacher. I am also an author. I wrote a book called The Dragon Codex, Quest for the Relics of Design. This is a great story about 3 young dragons who have to learn graphic design to save the world from creative destruction. It's a book for young adults, and it's a story about family, it's a story about friendships, and a story about finding your place in the world. Pick up a copy today. I know you'll love it.